I definitely binge one of our episodes this afternoon, and I am not, I don't feel any kind of remorse. I'm not feeling shame. Roll the intro. Yeah. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel.
Yep.
So, I am in.
Okay, I am Aditi, she's Anushka.
I am Aditi,
I am Anushka.
and we are the Creepy Guys podcast.
She's a fan.
Yeah.
If you don't know, she's a fan.
Yeah, I am definitely a fan. Anyways, what is been up this week? First things first, we are now on YouTube.
Yay!
So obviously, if you are listening to us, go back and listen to YouTube. I like that we are on YouTube because now we have the comment section, so people can react to us and engage with us in podcasts. I don't think Spotify and anyone else has the comment section.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's that. Again, we are going to be narrating a new story from this book called The Ghosts of the Silent Hills. And yeah, this book has 7 stories and we have narrated 2 of them. So, quite fun.
Okay.
Anything else that you wanted to add?
This week went by
Yeah.
very fast.
Very quickly.
It's Thursday already.
Yeah.
And we are recording early this week.
Yeah, for the first time. Anyways, yeah, let's start with the story. Do you want to
Yes.
go first or should I go first?
Let me go first.
Oh, I love going first, but I'll edit it. Let's go.
You always go first.
Yeah, I go.
The unfinished party. The unfinished party. After spending 10 days with his brother and his family, brooding, reflecting, unwinding, avowing never to venture out on a journey after sundown, Nandi caught an early morning bus and returned to Gioli, a changed man. He was now a staunch believer that death is only an end to a body, not the spirit.
Oh,
That's good. A copy of the Holy Bhagavad Gita, the ancient Hindu scripture that conveys the philosophy of indestructible of spirit, was now his cherished treasure. In fact, it still is. The last time I saw him a few years ago, the same old copy of Bhagavad Gita was prominently lying on his bedside table. It was providential that Watchman Jharku was on duty at the time. I was being chased by the spooky entity. Uncle Nandi recalled the incident that was still so fresh in his mind even after years had gone by. I had lost all hope of escaping alive that day. You know, the sight of a lathi wielding man holding a kerosene lantern became a symbol of trust and security for me ever since. He smiled and shook his head. Way back then, Nandi had posed a question worryingly during his stay at Wildflower Hall. Hi, do you think that ghostly woman could have caused me serious harm? Like, could it have possessed my body or sucked my soul?
oh no.
Pa had frowned and then chuckled. Come on, Nandi. She might not be a ghost at all. I think she was after you because she found you very attractive.
Ooh.
A suitable bachelor. You better get married quickly before you get killed by the young woman running after you. Nandi had failed recalling Dasraj's story. Bhai was joking, but now close to truth he was. It was a ghost Bhaiji, I am sure he insisted. And I also believe that she traveled with me in the truck. Ooh. She followed me right from where the bus had broken down. The ghost must have been outside the broken down bus all the time, hovering, waiting for the opportunity, or was she with us inside the bus?
Oh no!
Ooh, that's a crazy thought.
Nandi!
Nandi had wondered. His brother had frowned. Nandi, be reasonable. Your imagination is running wild. Did you see her boarding the truck and no, but ghosts can manifest all of a sudden and then disappear equally fast. Nandi has a point, guys.
Yeah, Nandi.
Yeah.
We are agreeing. This time we are agreeing.
I am agreeing with him. They are old. These are all old wives' tales. I'm not going to buy a ghost story.
Okay.
But Jharku also saw her.
Hmm.
Another great point. I wondered if she was really a ghost. She could have been a disoriented woman who had lost her way. No, bhai, believe me, she was not a human. I saw her. Nandi persisted.
The page turned on its own. Oh my gosh, are we being possessed?
People can be mistaken in the dark of the night, especially when they are also panicking. Anyhow, forget it now. Pray that God saves you from such woman. And his brother chose to change the topic.
Very nice.
Nambi realized that it was not possible for the skeptics like his brother to believe in the supernatural. He was no different himself. Till he had the direct encounter.
Yeah.
And since Jharku too had a fleeting glimpse of the ghost,
He did.
he was also the only one who believed him. Okay. He was grateful to him for being his redeemer that night. Although Jharku's stay at Wildflower Hall he had time and again let Jharku know how thankful he was. That had pleased Jharku to no end. Jharku would have also boosted about the whole incident had his boss not strictly warned him against revealing it to anyone as the principal of the institution. Was strictly warned to avoid rumors floating in the campus.
Yeah.
Don't go around blabbering about the incident to anyone, Jharku. Pa had stridently instructed him. No spreading of tales about what you and Nandi saw the other night. No, Sahib, I won't. My mouth is sealed, he had assured, and he had kept his promise. Time passed, monsoons arrived and departed. The snow in winters covered the landscape in a desolate white, keeping people indoors and fire burning in their hearts.
I love that. I love monsoon.
I feel cozy.
I love how cozy we can get. Also, we saw a very pink sky today,
Yeah.
and it was so beautiful. I got a
Yeah.
picture, so I will post that on our Instagram. So be sure to follow us. But yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
We'll put one on the YouTube as well.
Was beautiful.
Yeah.
Cool summers sluggishly began to replace the cold winter spring of the
Yeah.
mountains.
Love that.
Yeah. The wheel of season continued rolling, and with it day-to-day mundane affairs of life. The supernatural occurrence was more or less forgotten. But the fear of the close presence of restless souls remained for some in the recess of their minds, which forbade them from even mentioning them. At the end of April 1957, Pa received his promotion and transfer orders. He was to join the head office at Shimla. His post at Wildflower Hall was to be filled by Mr. Kulkarni, who was coming from Delhi to take over as the new principal. We were to move out of Wildflower Hall and head for Shimla once Pa had personally handed over the change to Mr. Kulkarni. Pa got busy winding up his work at the institution and Ma got busy packing up. Since the east wing of the main building was still occupied by us, Pa decided to temporarily arrange for the new principal's stay at the cottage. That's so sweet. Pa. Yeah. The cottage was situated at about 50 meters southeast of the main building, bordering a dark coniferous forest. A downhill incline hidden under a boundary of fields and cedars began right from the rear end of the cottage. It was a snug unit of a large sitting room, two comfortable bedrooms, a kitchen and a bath. A well-kept garden in front imparted it a quaint picture of a typical English house. During the erstwhile rule of the British, this cottage seemed to have accommodated the manager of the hotel. Its isolation was ominous. In the beginning of his tenure, Pa had offered it to the vice principal, but he had barely stayed there for 2 days at the end of which he requested to be lodged in the main building. I'm single and I need only a small unit to stay, he justified. Even using the cottage on a shared basis was not acceptable to anyone. Why no one wanted to stay in the cottage, Pa never gave it much thought, for he had no clue that rumors were rife in the school about a mysterious presence in the cottage.
Oh my gosh, this cottage is haunted.
Consequently, the cottage got reserved for special guests of the institution. It was opened once in a while for cleaning, but mostly remained vacant and locked. That's a problem. I'm just saying. Now the cottage was open after months for a thorough cleaning to make it livable for the new principal and his wife. Balhag, a young boy in his late teens who had joined the staff only 2 months ago, was assigned the duty. Equipped with cleaners, brooms, mops and dusters, Balhag opened the lock and entered the cottage around 9 in the morning. The house was icy cold and oddly resounding. The moment he had started his work, he began to hear strange whispers.
Oh my god.
Was the broom he was using making funny sounds? That's possible. He stood still, but the whispers persisted. He realized that the voices were coming from behind him.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. He looked around, wondering who else was in the cottage. Had someone sneaked in as he had left the door ajar for fresh air? He inspected the rooms but found no one. He resumed his work, ignoring the murmurs. But they were getting louder.
Oh my god.
The sounds kept following him. He shivered inside his warm clothing. After sweeping the floors, he sat on a chair to rest. The murmurs were draining him. question released his ears a number of times to stop the buzzing. Slowly, the sound subsided. Perhaps he needed to see a doctor.
After resting for 5 minutes, he got up to resume his work. Whispers immediately returned. He tried ignoring the strange voices, but they were getting stronger. Then he heard the first clear words, "Get out."
My God.
My goodness. He looked around. Perhaps the voice had leaked in through the window, though he couldn't spot anyone outside. Shaking his head, he walked into the bedroom and picked up the bed cover to change the bed linen. It was then he felt a strong shove. Oh my
Oh
god.
my God, what's happening?
I hate that. He held onto the side table. Get out.
Oh.
The angry, growling voice was near and distant. Someone seemed to be standing right next to him, totally invisible. He stood frozen, looking around the stark, empty room. Then he watched in horror as the pillow rose from the bed on its own and came hurtling towards him. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. No wonder no one lives in this freaking cottage, because I mean
I'm
that.
worried for the person that's coming.
Yeah.
Mr. Kulkarni.
Oh my god. Oh my
He's
goodness.
gonna save them.
Yeah. He dodged and then, panting, trembling, screaming, gasping, he rushed out of the cottage and straight into the principal's office. Pa patiently listened to Balab's report. His shivering body and pale face were proof enough that he had actually experienced something that had intensely scared him. But pillows hurtling through the air on their own, the boy had surely a fabulous imagination. Nevertheless, for a moment, Pa got worried. Were there really supernatural activities happening around? First Nandi and now Balab. But he shook his thought out of his mind. The boy was exaggerating. He was barely 18 and immature. He summoned Vishnu in charge of the maintenance and asked him to stay with Balab till he finished his work. Balab refused outright. Nothing could pursue him to return to the cottage. The experience had unnerved Balab so intensely that he asked to be relieved from his job. He would go home and later seek a job elsewhere. This place is spooky, sir, not safe, he declared. Pa rubbished the whole episode as fictitious fear of a weak-minded juvenile and allowed him to leave. Vishnu was equally hesitant to enter the cottage. He had heard the paranormal activity around the cottage had increased lately, but he couldn't decline the orders. He collected the team of a few brave hearts, including Jadhu, who was if you listen to the last episode, he was kind of a hero. He saved Nandi, kind of. They first scouted the cottage, loudly chanting prayers. The cottage had never felt the cold. They also felt an unexplained presence, as if someone was keenly watching them, following them yet keeping distance. Perhaps prayers were working. Cleaning the cottage hurriedly, they locked it once again. 2 days before my family was to depart for Shimla, Mr. and Mrs. Kulkarni arrived a little before lunchtime. The sky was partly cloudy and the balmy sunshine repressed the feel of the approaching summer. But for the couple, having come from the summer heat of Delhi, it was almost like experiencing winters again. Kulkarnis were in their late 30s and childless. The excitement of being posted at a famous building sitting in the lap of the Himalayas was writ large on their faces. The institute staff and students had gathered to extend them a hearty welcome. This is our first time on the mountains and we are going to love it here, Mr. Kulkarni had announced heartily, and his wife nodded enthusiastically, wrapping her shawl around her. They both seemed like school children going for a picnic. They are thrilled at the prospect of living in such heavenly surroundings, excluded from their very mannerism.
Obviously.
A few staff members exchanged glances. Some shook their heads in pity. Oh my god.
My God.
Jharku and Vishnu, standing at the back of the group, bowed their heads and said silent prayers. After the initial welcome, introductions, and hot cups of tea, the couple settled in the cottage. What a lovely little joint, Mrs. Kulkarni remarked, plonking herself on the sitting room sofa. Except it's exceptionally cold in here, Mr. Kulkarni added, rubbing his hands to warm them. I know, I felt it as soon as I entered. I have asked the caretaker to keep the heaters on.
Yeah, that's the sign of a ghost coming.
Yeah, cold. They are big Conjuring fans here. After freshening up, the couple joined my parents for lunch. Mrs. Kulkarni, happy and excited, twittered throughout. Afterwards, they were taken to the garden for a relaxed cup of tea. So many cups of tea.
Yeah.
Just like us. Mrs. Kulkarni looked around in awe at the emerald grass and the exotic flowers in the beds, which had just begun to bloom. She seemed impressed and expressed her excitement to my mother. Mrs. Sharma, I don't mind living here for the rest of my life. This place is heavenly, just out of the world. Aren't you sad you're leaving? We've always lived in similar places, Mrs. Kulkarni. We belong to the mountains. And we aren't going far, just about 20 kilometers away. You are so lucky, Mrs. Kulkarni chirped. Pa interrupted their conversation to suggest that Kulkarnis should shift to the main building after our departure. But Mrs. Kulkarni was too happy with the charming cottage. Why do we need a large accommodation? We don't have children.
You need it. Okay? You're gonna regret it.
Yeah. The cottage is big enough for the two of us and quite comfortable. I'll enjoy my privacy and peace there. Absolutely your choice, Pa shrugged his shoulders. But may I warn you, it can get lonely at times. He was anxious about their well-being after the recent incidents, even as he pretended to be a skeptic. But Mrs. Kulkarni rubbished his proposal. What's with the skeptics, man? What is with the skeptics?
Just believe them.
Yeah. I have suffered enough noise of the crowded cities. Now I want to enjoy peace of this isolated cottage.
Okay.
She cheerfully stretched her legs and added, I'm thoroughly going to enjoy the tranquility.
She's so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's me. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah. Of this stunning mountain resort. Did you say it was once a luxury hotel during the British era? Mr. Kulkarni watched his wife devotedly. He was clearly pleased at her being so happy. After lunch, Pa and Mr. Kulkarni left for the office. Ma advised Mrs. Kulkarni to rest for the afternoon. She needed it after the long journey. But the novelty of the place had given the lady extra agility. I am loving this lady. She's like full of excitement. And yeah, she seems very lively. A total extrovert. She spent the entire afternoon, or maybe an introvert because she's loving the peace.
Yeah, let's see.
She spent the entire afternoon inspecting the gardens, the surrounding areas, and basking in the sun. It was only late in the evening that she entered the cottage. Just remain outside. Maybe that's the safe thing to do.
Yeah. Just set up a tent.
Yeah.
Just sleep there.
Yeah.
Don't go into the house
Yep, totally agree.
because your excitement is gonna be vanished. Think so. That's not.
Let's hope.
That's so
pray.
sorry.
By now, darkness had began. Darkness, I said.
Darkness.
That was a weird. Anyways, by now, darkness had begun to creep in as softly as a prowling predator. I love this writer's English.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I wish I had.
Yeah.
I wish I had her skill.
Yeah, she definitely is a brilliant writer. Yeah, waning Mrs. Kulkarni's sleep. The calls of the nocturnal creatures caused further dismay. She was a typical city bred who had only seen crowds and clamor. The
That's
hush
why
of
she's
the
the.
yeah, the hush of the forlorn mountain dampened her spirit. On top of this, she had begun to hear strange whispers. We do not appreciate the whispers. Stop them. Where was I? I completely. Were there people outside, students or staff, talking in hushed voices? I was going to say hush. I read that hushed as husband.
Husband was.
But the sounds seemed to be coming from inside the cottage. She quickly took out Lord Krishna's idol from her bag, selected a prayer corner and sat down for her evening puja, earnestly waiting for her husband's return. When the couple joined my family for dinner, her concern was quite apparent. Don't you ever feel scared living in this forsaken place? Her paradoxal statement amused Mom. Don't worry, you will soon get used to it. After dinner, the couple retired to the cottage as the long journey and the hectic activities of the day had worn them out. They went to bed around 10 and the long day's tiredness immediately overtook their conscious minds. And that is where we are going to be ending, leaving you with that subtle cliffhanger, and we'll continue the story next week. So if you are a new listener, this is what we are doing right now. We are narrating a story from this book, and then we leave you with these cliffhangers, so you have to come back in the next episode and we continue to read the story. But we also read small short stories, one each, so that we can have more creepiness in the episode. So yeah,
As if this isn't enough.
yeah, as of this is like enough, and we are recording at night, so props for us. Yeah, so let's begin the short story segment.
The photographs.
Oh,
A few months ago, a friend of mine who is an upcoming nature photographer decided to spend a day and night alone in the woods outside of our town.
bad idea.
She wanted to get photos of the woods and wildlife as naturally as she could for her portfolio. She wasn't afraid of being alone, as she had camped by herself many times before. She set up a tent in the middle of a small clearing and spent the day taking pictures. She filled up 4 rolls of film on that trip, but something was strange about them. What she saw in those pictures has stayed with her ever since. She is still trying to recover from the trauma that they have caused her. Almost every picture was accounted for, save for one picture in each roll of film. These pictures were of her asleep in her tent in the middle of the night.
No!
Someone is with her.
No way! No! That is so incredibly scary.
Yeah.
My god! Not like this. You should not wander off in the woods alone. Kids, adults, listen.
Anyone.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. My god. Yeah. Well, she is scarred for life for her poor decisions. So I am not.
Can't do anything about it.
Yeah, we can't do anything about it. Don't worry. I am leaving. This happened to a friend of a friend earlier this summer. I'll call her friend Jane. Jane is a nurse who works a specific shift at a local hospital and keeps a really consistent schedule. She gets up at 5 a.m., takes a shower,
I can never do that.
yeah, seriously, and then heads off to work. Jane lives in a bungalow a block away from Green Lake in Seattle. For those of you unfamiliar, Green Lake is a really popular place for running, outdoor and park activities, and it is super busy during the summer. It's common for people to be out late at night during the summer. So Jane didn't think anything was amiss when she heard noises outside her house at midnight. She woke up again around 3 a.m. By this time, the noises were getting louder, like something was hitting or tapping the house. She turned on all the lights and walked around her place, but didn't see anything, and went back to sleep. She felt uneasy and didn't sleep well the rest of the night, and woke up just before her alarm went off at 5 a.m. As she sat up in bed, she looked through her open bedroom door to see a man on all fours, army, crawling down the hall towards her bedroom. As my friend tells it, Jane screams as she goes to grab her phone to call 911. The man calmly stands, looks at her and says, "Don't worry, I'm leaving."
Huh?
The man turned around and walked toward the front door. She shut her bedroom door and called the police. The police arrived. She discovered the man had removed all her window screens and presumably entered her home around the time she woke up at 3 a.m.
3 a.m. is a key time.
Yeah.
I have heard a lot about 3 a.m.
Yeah, seriously. The police did not believe he intended to rob her since he didn't take any of her valuables. The only things he did take were her car keys and her house keys that were in her purse by the front door. My friend's husband is a cop and believes the only reason this guy was so calm is because he has likely done this before. He also thinks he had probably been watching her for some time and knew her schedule well enough to attack her when she was most defenseless. Whether he took her keys as a mind dash effort or because he intended to come back is beyond me, but it's so creepy. Oh, dude, that is incredibly dangerous. The bungalows and houses in general, I feel like we do not stress this enough, but it's so hazard us to live in a bungalow because it's so large and you cannot keep an eye on every single room, right? So anyone can enter from literally the fourth
window,
room. So in an apartment, you can literally like everyone is. If you are a family of 4, you are in all rooms. You are like divided in all rooms and nothing can come. But yeah, bungalows are super difficult, hazardous to live in, and yeah, until and unless you are a family of 50. Because that's the only way that I can see this working out. Okay, so we are approaching the end of the episode, and
My
it is-
favorite
yeah, it is something that I have been dreading. I am going to lean into it
Okay, why?
because I want to enjoy these. It's just so dumb that I cannot laugh, but I will try my hardest today.
Let's see.
Yeah, I am going to try my hardest, and you better not have anything dumb, which they all
That's
are.
not possible.
Yeah, let's see what do we got.
What's the best way to watch a fly fishing tournament?
No, I don't know.
Live stream. She can't.
I
just
I can't. Do you have another?
Yeah. What do you call a dog that can do magic?
What? Magic dog. Magician.
Use your imagination.
I have no imagination in this.
A Labra-cadabra dog.
Well, I give up all my hopes to laugh because that was incredibly dumb and I cannot laugh. Anyways, yeah, thank you so much again,
Yep.
guys, for listening. If you have made it till the end, if you are on YouTube, leave us a comment.
Yeah.
And if you are an audio listener,
Yep.
even then, come on YouTube, talk to us, engage with us because we would love to talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can talk all night.
Yeah, we can talk creepy all night, guys. It's our thing. Anyways, also if you have a creepy story to share, where can they mail?
They can mail us at creepytale69@gmail.com.
Perfect.
Perfect.
And
Yeah.
what's our Instagram handle again?
Creepytale69.
Good job.
Yeah, no?
Alright, yeah, thank you so much for listening and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.